And that's going live.
Hi Beavers, welcome back. Thank you for all your fantastic pictures. You did not disappoint. I had lots of rainbow fish and I had lots of rainbow other things as well, but they were brilliant. Hope you enjoyed doing that. A shout out to the watercolours, they were lovely, and a shout out to the one beaver who did a different one. I got a bat, very clever. I'm guessing it was 2 hands to make the wings, but it was a wonderful bat, so well done. Okay, as usual, we're going to start with our beaver shout. So imagine we're in the hall and I've said gather logs and you're standing in the circle around me, and then we will build a dam. Hello beavers, give me a B, give me an E, give me an A, give me a V, give me an E, give me an R, give me an S. And what do we got? And what do we have? And what do we make? Brilliant stuff. Okay, actually what we're going to make is Rocky Road. So hopefully you've got your bowl. I've got my lovely new batter jug. Well, it's not that new, but I love it. It's brilliant for things like this. And your chocolate and your biscuits. I've already put mine in the bag. We'll do that in a minute, so don't panic. But I've actually already got mine waiting in my bag to bash up. The thing I forgot is a rolling pin. You need a rolling pin or something to bash your biscuits with. This is very good COVID-19 frustration recipe. I turned the kettle on by accident. So, first things first, your chocolate needs to break into... Oh, I'm trusting, by the way, that you've all washed your hands before you started because you knew you were going to cook. And you all know how to wash your hands now. You need your chocolate in its individual knobs, please. Mine is nice, thin, cheapy Sainsbury's chocolate, so it breaks very easily. Some of you, I'm guessing, will now be having big trouble breaking lovely, thick, chunky Cadbury's chocolate. If you need a knife, then get yourself not a sharp cooking knife, just an ordinary blunt knife. And can we see on the board there? Yep. Sorry, I've got Pete doing the cameraman. And you just push with the end in and it will break itself apart. So if you've got really chunky chocolate and it's not breaking by hand, then that's the way to do it. Right, that was, I think I said 100 grams to you, so that was 100 grams. But Rocky Road there's no science to it. You just throw in what you want, really. There's no ingredient quantities. So I've decided I'm doing a double batch. So I've got 200 grams. If your bar is 150 grams, that's fine. Just throw it all in there. Throw it all in. Okay. There for now. Right, now your chocolate we're going to melt in the microwave because that is the easiest way to do it. You have to be very careful not to overcook because otherwise it will all congeal together and then you can't make Rocky Road or whatever it is you're making. So just for starters, put it in just for 1 minute. No longer than that to start with. Whilst that's doing, you could get your biscuits in your bag. I think I said 6 biscuits. I've obviously got a few more in there because I've got a bit more chocolate. And as I say, it's not an exact science. So if you didn't have enough biscuits, you could use some cornflakes, or I did that because my cereals live up the top here. Wouldn't mean anything to you guys. So we'll just wait for that to... It's funny how long a minute is when you're waiting, isn't it? Again, this will vary if you've got I think microwaves are like 700 to 900, so it will vary. I better not have overdone this. Here we go. Right. Now it should. Doesn't look like it's done anything, does it? But if you now put your spoon in, you'll find that it's all started melting. So give it a bit of a stir. I think mine's an 800 strength microwave. If yours is 700, you'll need a bit longer, and if it's 900, a bit shorter. It does make a big difference, the strength of your microwave, so be careful. Okay, you see it's only just started going, so that's going to need another bit of time, but do it in 30-second stints now, because it's quite difficult to retrieve if you lost it. Sometimes if you add some milk you can get it back, but if you haven't got a microwave, then your method is going to be chocolate in a bowl over a pan with a little bit of water in it. The water mustn't touch the bottom of the bowl, so you don't need much in there. So your chocolate would be in the bowl, and then you just pop that on your hob, on your electric or gas hob, with the gas quite high to start with until the water boils. But the minute the water boils, turn the gas off and just let the heat melt your chocolate, and it will slowly melt round. Okay, let's see how this is doing. There we go. Again, it doesn't look like it's done much more, but when you start stirring, you'll be able to see that it's... Now, if you've only had 100 grams of chocolate, you're probably done by now. And the other trick is, don't be tempted at this point, even though there's quite big lumps in there, don't put it back in the microwave, because the residual heat will probably melt those bits. And if you put it back in, you might overdo it, and then you'll have burnt chocolate. And trust me, burnt chocolate is not nice. So just keep stirring, and they'll probably go. Being rocky road, if you wanted at this point, you could not bother with the lumps anyway, because you've got a lumpy rocky road to make. So a big chunk of chocolate in there might not go amiss. So I think they'll probably melt down. I think you can see they're nearly gone. So I don't think I'm going to risk fussing with those, but that looks nicely melted. So that's going to the side for a minute. Okay, so you've got your biscuits in your bag. Again, there's no right or wrong way of doing this. I tend to just break them, feel through the bag and break them up a little bit before you go in with the rolling pin. And again, depending on your mood, you can either bash, much more fun than anything else. Now remember, you want it quite coarse. You're not looking for it all to be completely pulped up, like as if you were making a tiffin or a cheesecake base. So spread them out, give it a bash, see how they're doing. I should have a clear bag because you can't really see very well, can you? If they're not going, then do give it a bit of a roll, but not too, don't push too hard. Right, I think some of them are quite big, but I think even so, I'm going to call that a day. Some of them are fairly big, and some of it is dust, so there's a good mixture in there. Right, so once they're the size you're happy with, just pour them all in. If at this stage you've decided you want some cornflakes or Rice Krispies or anything like that you're trying to use up, then pop them in as well and just stir it round. There we go. It should be tolerably stodgy, but still with a little bit of wetness to soak up, because we've got the next things to add. If you've got mini mallows, now is the time to add them. For a proper rocky road, you should have marshmallows, but Peter doesn't like marshmallows, so I've missed them out. So now you just chuck everything else in now, really. Your dried fruit, I've got cranberries and blueberries that I use. And really it's just however much you think you like. If you want a few bits of dried fruit, I'm gonna bung all the rest of those in there. There we go. I'll open myself a new packet up for breakfast. And then I think I said white chocolate at some time to give these are kind of like stones in the road or something. I found Smarty buttons, which I've never seen before. So we've got white chunky buttons with Smarties in the top. So I think for a real chunky Rocky Road, I'm just going to bung those in whole. You might want to chop them up. And if you're going to chop them up, the way to do that is to rock your knife. So you sort of hold the, can we see through the, oh look, cranberry escaped. Hold the tip and kind of lever down in a rocking motion. That's the best way to do things of that type. And then throw them in if you want them small. But I think I'm going really chunky. These are kind of like big stones in the road. These are going to be. Because let's face it, we've got big stones in the road, haven't we, in the sense of coping with COVID and everything that's going on around us. Okay, so that's it basically. If you've added all your, I'm afraid I can't see the chat from where I am, so if anyone's screaming at me that they can't keep up, I'm afraid I've missed it. How are we doing? Pete can see the chat. Is there any
Mark has said hello.
Jolly good.
And Camilla has said hello to everyone.
Yeah.
A big hello from Gabriel.
Jolly good. And we're all okay, I take it. It's going to be a very quick session, guys. Rocky Road is not difficult to make. Okay, so you should have a lovely squishy mixture like that that's quite stiff. So there's not a lot of chocolate left, but everything is well covered. I probably could get some more biscuits or cereal in there if I really wanted to, but I'm quite happy with that, so I'm going to leave it like that. But you do need it to be nice and thick and sticky like that.
And a hi from Lee.
Oh, brilliant. That's Jonathan in with us as well. We've got a regular little group. That's lovely. And I got loads more pictures and not things today, so we're all up to date. Okay, and then what do I do with I've decided today to put my Rocky Road straight into these quite shallow plastic tubs, and obviously they've got lids, so when I bash them up they'll already have a container. I don't know how much is going to go in. Might get them all in one and have really chunky Rocky Road. Or we might, if you wanted to, before now, in fact, when we've done it in the hall, shall I go really chunky? No, because it's harder to break up then. Let's do two. When I've done this before in the hall at church, if you want, you can put them in ordinary cupcake cases if you want individual ones rather than bashing it into Rocky Road. Okay, where's my knife gone? And now all you have to do is squish it all together. With a knife, press it all down so that when it sets, it will all come together. See, it's not quite enough for, slightly too much for one and not quite enough for two. The joy of this mix is that you don't have to it's nice and stiff, so it's not going to run away. So if you've only got a bit, you can squish it down one end like this. There we go. Now again, choice is yours. if you want, whilst it's soft, you can mark out the squares so that when you take it out the fridge in a little while, it's easier to cut. Personally, I normally prefer to leave it as a whole, and then part of the fun of Rocky Road when you get it out of the fridge is getting that rolling pin or something again and bashing it all up into odd shaped pieces. But if you actually want reasonably the same size squares, then mark it out now whilst it's soft. If you want to do that, then you'd be well advised to chop your buttons and things into smaller pieces, because I can't now get through one of these buttons. So again, entirely up to you. Mark it out or leave it on its own. Pop it in the fridge, and in as little as 15 minutes probably, you'll have nice crunchy Rocky Road to have after your tea or whatever you're doing. Part of the reason I chose that for this week is that it's the VE Day celebrations on Friday, and obviously all the plans are out the window. There won't be any big celebrations and street parties and all the rest of it. But it did cross my mind that having made that today, what? No, that's next week.
That's next week.
Oh, got me weeks muddled up. That is next week, isn't it? Oh, figs. Oh well, you'll have to make another batch then, if you want, because if you've got a pretty bag or a cellophane of a plastic bag of some kind, or you can find some in the next week, it did cross my mind that you could pop a few bits of Rocky Road in one of those, tie it with a ribbon, and maybe leave it on Nan's doorstep or Auntie Jane or whoever it is that you haven't seen for goodness knows how long and would quite like to see. Obviously keeping your distance, etc., but a few knobs of Rocky Road made by you and popped on a doorstep might make somebody's day. But I have got my weeks wrong, so you've got another whole week for that. Well done and thank you. Again, send me the photos and I can tick you off on your challenges, which is probably skills. Not a lot of skill in melting chocolate with a microwave, but, you know, we'll go with that. Next week, we are experimenting, as I said in my email earlier, which will be a lot of fun. You're going to be looking at surface tension. You're going to be doing a volcano. And believe it or not, you're going to be making butter. I didn't believe it either, but that's what we're doing. So lovely to have you along. Enjoy your Rocky Road. And we'll finish off with our goodbye shout. All together. Goodbye. Goodbye. Are we gone?